Luffy's adventure kicks off when he meets the cowardly but good-hearted Kobe, who dreams of becoming a marine. Together, they take on Alvida, a brutal pirate who wields a spiked club. Luffy effortlessly defeats her, and Kobe finds the courage to pursue his dream of joining the Marines. Luffy heads to Shell's Town, where he encounters the infamous bounty hunter Roronoa Zoro, who has been imprisoned by the corrupt Marine Captain Morgan. With the help of Kobe and a girl named Rika, Luffy frees Zoro and defeats Morgan, earning Zoro's loyalty. The two set sail together, officially beginning the Straw Hat Pirates' journey. The duo lands in Orange Town, where they face Buggy the Clown, a devil fruit user with the power to split his body into pieces. Along the way, they meet Nami, a skilled navigator and thief who hates pirates but temporarily teams up with Luffy and Zoro to defeat Buggy. After a fierce battle, Luffy sends Buggy flying and Nami joins them, though she has her own hidden motives. Arriving in Syrup Village, they meet Usopp, a long-nosed sharpshooter known for his tall tales. When the village is threatened by the villainous Captain Kuro, a former pirate posing as a butler, Usopp proves his courage. The Straw Hats defeat Kuro and his crew, and Usopp officially joins them. They also acquire the Going Merry, their first proper ship. The crew reaches the floating restaurant, Barati, where they meet Sanji, a skilled cook with powerful kicks. However, trouble arrives in the form of the fearsome pirate Don Krieg. Just when things seem dire, Mihawk, the world's strongest swordsman, appears and effortlessly defeats Krieg's fleet. Zoro challenges Mihawk but is utterly defeated, vowing to become stronger. Sanji helps defend Barati and eventually joins the crew after an emotional farewell with the head chef Zeph. Nami suddenly leaves the crew and returns to Arlong Park, the base of the ruthless fishman pirate Arlong. Luffy and the others follow and discover that Nami has been working under Arlong to buy back her village. Realizing her suffering, Luffy declares war on Arlong and in one of his most iconic moments destroys Arlong Park, freeing Nami from her torment. With her past behind her, Nami officially becomes a Straw Hat. Before entering the Grand Line, the crew stops at Logue Town, where the Pirate King Gol D. Roger was executed. They run into Smoker, a tough marine captain with the power of the Smoke Fruit. Luffy is nearly captured, but a mysterious man named Dragon saves him. With a storm providing the perfect escape, the crew sets sail for the Grand Line, ready to take on the world. The crew's first challenge is crossing Reverse Mountain, a deadly waterway leading into the Grand Line. After barely making it through, they encounter a giant lonely whale named Laboon, who rams the mountain repeatedly, waiting for a pirate crew that abandoned him decades ago. Luffy, in his own unique way, promises Laboon that they'll return someday for a rematch, painting the Straw Hat symbol on the whale's forehead as a sign of their bond. The crew arrives at Whiskey Peak, where they are seemingly welcomed as honored guests. However, it's all a trap by Baroque Works, a secret criminal organization led by the mysterious Crocodile. Zoro sees through the deception and single-handedly defeats an army of bounty hunters. Meanwhile, a mysterious woman named Miss All Sunday, later revealed as Nico Robin, appears and offers Luffy a cryptic warning. On the prehistoric island of Little Garden, the crew meets two giant warriors, Dory and Brogy, who have been dueling for a century. Baroque Works agents Mr. 3 and Miss Golden Week try to turn them against each other and trap Zoro, Nami, and Vivi in a giant wax candle, but Luffy and Usopp intervene, saving everyone. With the giants' help, they defeat Baroque Works and leave the island. Nami falls dangerously ill, forcing the crew to search for a doctor on Drum Island, a snowy land ruled by the cruel King Wapol. There, they meet Dr. Kureha and her reindeer assistant, Tony Chopper, who ate the human fruit and can transform into different forms. When Wapol returns to reclaim his throne, Luffy and Chopper defeat him. Inspired by Luffy's dream, Chopper joins the crew as their doctor, setting sail with a tearful farewell to Dr. Kureha. The crew finally reaches Alabasta, Vivi's homeland, which is on the brink of civil war due to Crocodile's manipulations. They battle powerful Baroque Works agents, including the dangerous Mr. 1 and Miss Doublefinger. In a brutal showdown, Luffy fights Crocodile 3 times, learning to counter his Sand fruit powers with water and eventually defeating him with a devastating punch. With Crocodile defeated and the truth revealed, the war ends and peace is restored. However, Vivi decides to stay behind to help rebuild her country. In a heartfelt farewell, the Straw Hats raise their arms, showing their X-marked wrists, a silent goodbye as Marines are watching. As the crew sets sail, they discover an unexpected stowaway, Nico Robin, Crocodile's former partner who wants to join them. Luffy, to everyone's shock, accepts her without hesitation, bringing the enigmatic archaeologist aboard. The crew arrives at the lawless island of Jaya, where pirates gather to trade information and treasure. Here, they meet Bellamy, a cocky pirate who mocks Luffy's dream of finding the legendary Sky Island. Instead of fighting, Luffy and Zoro refuse to engage, much to Bellamy's amusement. Meanwhile, the crew meets Mont Blanc Cricket, a descendant of Mont Blanc Noland, a historical figure labeled a liar for claiming he saw a golden city in the sky. Cricket, however, believes the legend and helps the Straw Hats prepare for their journey upward. They also encounter Blackbeard, a mysterious pirate who speaks of dreams never dying. When Bellamy steals Cricket's gold, Luffy easily takes him down with a single punch, proving that strength isn't about boasting. With the help of a giant geyser called the Knock-Up Stream, the crew launches their ship straight into the sky. Arriving in Skypiea, an island floating above the clouds, the Straw Hats find themselves in the middle of a conflict between the native Skypieans and the Shandians, warriors who want to reclaim their ancestral land. At the center of it all is Enel, the self-proclaimed god of Skypiea, who possesses the powerful Rumble fruit, granting him control over lightning. As Enel prepares to destroy Skypiea with his enormous flying arc, the Maxim Luffy, who is completely immune to Enel's lightning due to his rubber body, faces him in an epic battle. After an intense fight, Luffy defeats Enel by smashing him into the Golden Bell of Shandora, proving that the Golden City was real all along. With peace restored, the Straw Hats are gifted a huge pile of gold before making their dramatic escape back to the Blue Sea. The crew arrives at Long Ring Longland, a bizarre island with ridiculously tall animals and stretched landscapes. Here they meet the Foxy Pirates and their captain, Foxy, who challenges them to a Davy Backfight, a pirate game where the winner can steal crew members from the loser's team. Despite Foxy's underhanded tactics, which mostly involve his slow fruit ability that slows people down at the worst moments, Luffy manages to win in the final round. However, instead of stealing a crew member, Luffy just takes Foxy's flag and doodles on it, humiliating him. Just as they're about to leave, they encounter Admiral Aokiji, one of the 3 Marine Admirals. Aokiji reveals his insane ice powers by effortlessly freezing the ocean and nearly killing Robin. Luffy challenges him but gets frozen solid in an instant. Thankfully, Aokiji lets them go, but his warning about Robin's past lingers in their minds. The Straw Hats arrive at Water 7, a city of canals and world-famous shipwrights, to get their ship repaired. However, they soon receive heartbreaking news. The Going Merry is beyond repair. Usopp, who sees the ship as part of their crew, refuses to accept this and gets into a heated argument with Luffy. This leads to one of the most emotional moments in the series, Usopp challenging Luffy to a duel over the ship. Despite fighting his heart out, Usopp loses and leaves the crew. As if that wasn't enough, Robin mysteriously disappears, and the Straw Hats are accused of attempting to assassinate Iceberg, the mayor of Water 7. It turns out that Robin has been taken by CP9, a secret government assassin group who plan to use her knowledge to activate the ancient weapon Pluton. The crew realizes they need to chase after her and take on the world government itself. The Straw Hats, along with new allies from Water 7, storm Enies Lobby, the massive government stronghold, to rescue Robin. This arc is packed with insane fights: Zoro versus Kaku, Sanji versus Jabra, and Luffy versus Lucci, the strongest member of CP9. Luffy even unveils Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd for the first time, pushing his body to its limits. Robin, who had always believed she was destined to be alone, finally screams her famous words, "I want to live." In an unforgettable moment, the crew declares war on the world government by burning down their flag. Luffy defeats Lucci in an exhausting battle, and with the help of the Going Merry, who miraculously arrives one last time, they make a daring escape. However, their joy is short-lived as the Going Merry, too damaged to continue, reaches its final moments. In one of the saddest scenes in One Piece, the crew gives their beloved ship a Viking funeral, saying their tearful goodbye. Back in Water 7, Frankie, the cyborg shipwright, officially joins the crew after building them a new ship, the Thousand Sunny. Usopp, realizing his mistake, returns to the crew after tearfully apologizing to Luffy. Meanwhile, Garp, Luffy's grandfather and a legendary marine, reveals that Luffy's father is Monkey D. Dragon, the most wanted man in the world. With a new ship, a stronger crew, and even bigger targets on their backs, the Straw Hats set sail toward their next adventure, unaware that their biggest challenge is right around the corner. The crew stumbles upon Thriller Bark, a massive haunted island ship ruled by Gecko Moria, one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Moria has the ability to steal people's shadows with his Kage no Mi and uses them to create an army of zombies. Things go south quickly when Luffy's shadow is stolen and implanted into a massive corpse, creating Oars, a giant zombie with Luffy's personality and fighting style. Meanwhile, the crew meets Brook, a living skeleton who loves music, bad jokes, and tea. He's been searching for his stolen shadow for decades and asks to join the crew if they help him. The crew battles Moria's zombie army, with Zoro and Sanji facing off against some of the toughest enemies, while Usopp, Chopper, and Nami take on Perona, the Ghost Princess. Usopp ends up being the perfect counter to her negative hollows because he's already so pessimistic that he can't be made any more depressed. Luffy goes head-to-head with Moria, but the real challenge is oars. The entire crew has to work together to bring the massive beast down, with some of their most creative teamwork yet. Eventually, Luffy unlocks Nightmare Luffy, temporarily gaining incredible strength by absorbing dozens of shadows. He lands a devastating attack on Moria, forcing the warlord to spit out all the stolen shadows just before dawn, saving everyone who was at risk of being turned to dust. Just when they think it's over, another warlord, Bartholomew Kuma, arrives with orders to wipe out everyone. In one of the most jaw-dropping moments, Zoro sacrifices himself to take all of Luffy's pain, nearly dying in the process. When Sanji finds him afterward, Zoro simply says, "Nothing happened." With their new crewmate Brook on board and Thriller Bark behind them, the Straw Hats set sail once more, unaware that the most brutal challenge of their lives is just ahead. The Straw Hats arrive at Sabaody Archipelago, a lively but dangerous place filled with pirates, bounty hunters, and corrupt celestial dragons, world nobles who treat everyone else like dirt. Their goal is to coat their ship so they can travel to Fishman Island. They meet Silvers Rayleigh, former first mate of the Pirate King, who offers to coat their ship. Meanwhile, they befriend Kami, a mermaid, and her starfish friend Papag, but she gets kidnapped by human traffickers. The crew storms an auction house to rescue her, but things escalate when Luffy punches a celestial dragon for shooting his friend, Hachi. That punch triggers chaos, summoning a marine admiral, Kizaru, one of the strongest in the world. Alongside him are the terrifying pacifistas, deadly cyborgs modeled after Bartholomew Kuma. The Straw Hats are completely outmatched, and just when things couldn't get worse, the real Kuma arrives. One by one, Kuma uses his Nikyu Nikyu no Mi powers to make each Straw Hat vanish. Luffy can only watch helplessly as his entire crew disappears before he himself is sent flying away to an unknown location. Luffy crash lands on Amazon Lily, an island inhabited only by warrior women led by Boa Hancock, a warlord of the sea. Despite her cruel nature, she falls for Luffy, charmed by his fearless attitude. Luffy soon learns that his brother, Port Gastee Ace, has been captured and is scheduled for execution by the Marines at Marineford, the headquarters of the Navy. Desperate to save him, Luffy begs Hancock to help, and she agrees, sneaking him onto a marine ship heading for Impel Down, the world's most secure prison, where Ace is being held. Luffy storms Impel Down, the infamous underwater prison, to rescue Ace. Along the way, he fights through powerful jailers and reunites with old enemies turned allies, including Buggy, Mr. 3, and Crocodile. He also meets Emporio Ivankov, a revolutionary with the ability to alter people's hormones. Luffy battles Magellan, the prison's poisonous warden, but is completely overwhelmed and nearly dies. Thanks to Ivankov's medical abilities, he recovers, but he's too late. Ace has already been taken to Marineford. Now Luffy has no choice but to break out and chase after him. With an army of prisoners, including Jinbe, a fishman warrior, Luffy escapes Impel Down and heads straight for the battlefield. The most legendary battle in One Piece begins, the War of the Best. The Marines, led by Fleet Admiral Sengoku, prepare to execute Ace, while the Whitebeard pirates, led by the legendary Yonko Edward Whitebeard Newgate, arrive to rescue him. Luffy crashes into the war, causing absolute chaos. He fights alongside Whitebeard's forces, showing incredible willpower despite being completely outclassed by the strongest fighters in the world, including the three admirals Aokiji, Kizaru, and Akainu. Despite their efforts, tragedy strikes. Ace sacrifices himself to save Luffy from Akainu's deadly attack. Luffy is completely shattered, screaming in grief as his brother dies in his arms. Whitebeard, enraged, unleashes his full power, shaking the very seas, but he too falls after a brutal battle. As the war reaches its climax, Shanks arrives to put an end to the bloodshed. The Marines declare victory, but the world of One Piece is forever changed. Luffy is emotionally broken after losing Ace. With Jinbe's help, he remembers that he still has something to live for, his crew. Meanwhile, Rayleigh finds him and suggests training for 2 years to prepare for the dangers ahead. In a powerful moment, Luffy and Rayleigh return to Marineford, where Luffy rings the Ox Bell, sending a message to his crew. They will reunite after 2 years. The Straw Hats, scattered across the world, see his signal and begin their own training. This marks the end of the first half of One Piece, setting the stage for the New World, a place where only the strongest can survive. 2 years after their separation, the Straw Hats regroup at Sabaody Archipelago. Their reunion is chaotic as imposters posing as them try to recruit members. Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji quickly take them down, showing how much stronger they've become. The Marines, now under Admiral Kizaru, arrive to capture them, but the Straw Hats easily escape with the help of Rayleigh, who has finished coating their ship. As they reach Fishman Island, the crew is welcomed with mixed reactions. The island, ruled by King Neptune and his children, including Princess Shirahoshi, a giant mermaid, is suffering from deep-rooted discrimination between humans and fishmen. The villains this time are Hody Jones and the new Fishman pirates, who despise humans and plan to take over the island. They use steroids, energy steroids, to boost their strength, but these drugs have serious side effects. Luffy befriends Princess Shirahoshi, who is revealed to be the legendary ancient weapon Poseidon, capable of controlling sea kings, giant sea creatures. Meanwhile, Hody captures Neptune and starts his coup, attempting to execute the royal family. Luffy and his crew step in to stop the chaos, with Zoro taking on an entire underwater army, Sanji unlocking his skywalk technique, Frankie unveiling his new iron pirate robot, and Luffy revealing Gear 4th for the first time underwater. The final battle is an all-out war in Gyeoncord Plaza where Luffy defeats Hody, but the battle reveals deeper problems. Fishmen still hold deep resentment toward humans. In the end, Luffy gains Jinbei's trust and promises to take him as a crew member in the future. Before leaving, Big Mom's crew shows up, demanding payment for protecting the island. Luffy, unfazed, declares war on Big Mom, marking the start of a new conflict. Sailing through the unpredictable new world, the crew receives a distress call from Punk Hazard, an island that's mysteriously half covered in flames and half frozen. Curious and reckless as always, Luffy leads a group, Zoro, Robin, and Usopp, onto the island while the others stay on the Thousand Sunny. They soon encounter a terrified samurai's torso, yes, just his torso, still moving and talking, and a massive fire-breathing dragon. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew is ambushed and kidnapped by mysterious figures. It turns out that Punk Hazard was once a government research facility, now controlled by Caesar Clown, a mad scientist obsessed with chemical weapons. He has been conducting horrifying experiments, turning children into giants with dangerous drugs and creating Deadly Smiley, a massive poison gas creature. Caesar works under Joker, later revealed to be Don Quixote do Flamingo, one of the most dangerous figures in the New World. Luffy, always up for a fight, punches Caesar right in the face and gets captured for his trouble. Meanwhile, Law, the warlord of the sea and former member of Doflamingo's crew, arrives with a plan. He proposes an alliance with Luffy to take down Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, by cutting off his supply of artificial smile devil fruits, which are being produced under Doflamingo's orders. Law uses his Ope Ope no Mi to swap the bodies of several crew members for fun. Nami ends up in Frankie's body, which leads to hilarious moments. With the help of Trafalgar Law and the samurai Kinemon, whose son Momonosuke has been turned into a small dragon, the crew fights back against Caesar, his goons, Monet and Virgo, and his army of mutated prisoners. Zoro defeats Monet with sheer intimidation, Sanji beats Virgo in a fierce clash, and Luffy demolishes Caesar with a grisly magnum. Meanwhile, Smoker, who's also on the island, has his own grudge against Virgo and Doflamingo. After freeing the kidnapped children and destroying Caesar's lab, the crew escapes just before Doflamingo himself arrives, furious that his operation has been ruined. However, before he can do anything, Admiral Fujitora and Aokiji make their presence known, forcing him to retreat. The crew arrives at Dressrosa, a vibrant yet dangerous island filled with mysteries. To execute their plan, they split up. Luffy, Zoro, and Kinemon head to the Corrida Coliseum, where a grand tournament is being held, with the prize being the Flame fruit, Mera no Mi, once belonging to Port Gas d'Ace. Law, Usopp, Robin, and Caesar travel to Greenbit to negotiate with Doflamingo. Sanji, Nami, Brook, and Chopper stay on the Thousand Sunny, but soon get caught up in trouble of their own. At the Coliseum, Luffy enters under a fake name, Lucy, to win his brother's devil fruit. The competition is fierce, with legendary warriors like Cavendish, Bartolomeo, Jesus Burgess from Blackbeard's crew, and a masked gladiator named Rebecca. However, the biggest surprise is that Sabo, Luffy's sworn brother, is alive and enters the tournament, ultimately winning the Flame fruit. Meanwhile, Law's meeting with Doflamingo goes south when Fujitora, a blind yet incredibly powerful Marine Admiral, intervenes. Law is captured, and Doflamingo reveals that he tricked the world into thinking he had stepped down as a warlord of the sea. At the same time, Usopp and Robin get caught up with the Tontada dwarves, who have been fighting against Doflamingo's tyranny for years. The truth behind Dressrosa is horrifying. Doflamingo has been ruling with an iron fist, using his string fruit, controlling King Riku and turning citizens into living toys with the help of Sugar, a member of his elite crew. Once someone is turned into a toy, they are erased from everyone's memory, allowing Doflamingo to maintain absolute control. However, Usopp somehow becomes the hero of the dwarves when he accidentally makes Sugar faint, breaking the toy curse and causing chaos all over Dressrosa. Luffy and his allies launch an all-out assault on the Don Quixote pirates. The Colosseum fighters, including Cavendish, Bartolomeo, Sai, and Hadradin join forces with him, forming the Grand Fleet. Zoro battles Pika, Sanji faces Doflamingo's executives, and Luffy confronts Doflamingo in an epic clash. However, even Luffy struggles against Doflamingo's awakened string abilities until he unveils Gear 4th, Boundman, finally overpowering him and delivering a devastating King Kong gun to end the battle. With Doflamingo defeated and Dressrosa freed, the world is shaken. The Marines capture Doflamingo, Sabo retrieves Ace's legacy, and Luffy gains a massive following. After the intense battle at Dressrosa, the Straw Hat crew regroups and sets sail for Zoo, the mysterious moving island on the back of a giant elephant named Zunesha. Luffy, Zoro, Usopp, Robin, and the others arrive expecting to reunite with Sanji and the team that left earlier. However, they instead find a land in ruins devastated by an attack from Jack, a commander of Kaido's beast pirates. The crew meets the Minks, a warrior race of animal-like people who live on Zoo. Despite their injuries, the Minks welcome the Straw Hats, especially since they were saved by Sanji, Nami, Chopper, and Brook. It turns out that Jack attacked Zoo searching for a warrior named Raizo, believing he was hiding there. The Minks, led by Inuarashi and Nekomamushi, refuse to betray their ally, enduring torture but never giving up their friend. In a shocking twist, Raizo is actually on Zoo, proving the loyalty of the Minks. Sanji, however, is missing. The crew learns that Big Mom's forces arrived and took Sanji away to arrange his forced marriage with Charlotte Pudding, a daughter of the Yonko. Sanji left willingly, believing it was the only way to protect his friends. Luffy, refusing to abandon his crewmate, decides to head straight to Big Mom's territory to bring Sanji back, setting up the next big adventure. Before leaving, Luffy also learns more about the history of the world. Deep in the Whale Tree, Robin discovers a road poneglyph, one of 4 stones that reveal the location of Laugh-Tale, the final island where the One Piece is said to be. With the help of the Minks and their old ally Kuzuki Momonosuke, the Straw Hats realize they are now a key part of the battle against Kaido and the mystery of the world itself. With their new allies, the Straw Hats split up again. Luffy, Nami, Chopper, and Brook head to Whole Cake Island to rescue Sanji, while Zoro and the others prepare for the coming war against Kaido. Luffy and his rescue team, Nami, Chopper, Brook, and Carrot, head straight into Big Mom's territory, Whole Cake Island, to bring back Sanji. But things quickly spiral into chaos. Sanji is set to marry Charlotte Pudding, Big Mom's 35th daughter, as part of a political move between the Vinsmoke family and Big Mom pirates. Turns out, Sanji's family, the Germa 66, is a ruthless, science-driven army led by Judge Vinsmoke, his father, who only sees Sanji as a tool. Sanji is trapped. If he refuses the marriage, Big Mom will kill Zeph, the man who raised him. Forced to comply, he puts on a fake smile and tells Luffy he no longer wants to return, even brutally beating him in the process. But Luffy, being Luffy, refuses to believe it and vows to wait for Sanji's return, even starving himself in protest. Meanwhile, Big Mom is planning something even crazier. She intends to assassinate the Vinsmoke family at the wedding and steal their advanced technology. However, Pudding, who seemed sweet and innocent, turns out to be a sadistic manipulator, planning to shoot Sanji at the altar. Unfortunately for her, Sanji's unexpected kindness makes her hesitate. The rescue mission escalates when Jinbei officially joins the Straw Hats, defying Big Mom. With help from Capone Gang Bege, who also wants to betray Big Mom, they hatch a wild assassination plan. But things go horribly wrong. Big Mom goes into a food rage after her beloved wedding cake is destroyed, and the entire island erupts into chaos. Luffy battles Big Mom's strongest son, Katakuri, in an epic fight, unlocking advanced observation haki in the process. He barely manages to win, proving himself as a future top-tier pirate. Meanwhile, Sanji finally reunites with his crew, and together they escape through a dangerous naval battle with Big Mom's forces thanks to the ultimate sacrifice of Pedro. Though they don't take down Big Mom, they accomplish their goal. Sanji is back, the crew is stronger, and Jinbei officially joins. However, Big Mom is still furious, and worse, Kaido has been warned that the Straw Hats are coming. The Straw Hats finally arrive in Wano, a samurai-controlled land under Kaido's rule. The country is suffering. Kaido and his ally Shogun Orochi exploit the people, forcing them into starvation while poisoning their water with toxic factories. Kozuki Oden, the rightful ruler, was executed years ago, and his son, Momonosuke, is leading a rebellion in hiding. The Straw Hats, along with Kinemon and the other Red Scabbards, begin gathering allies to free Wano. Luffy, always eager for action, gets himself captured and thrown into Udon prison after punching Kaido, which, to be fair, was a pretty epic moment. Inside the prison, he meets Kid, another worst-generation pirate, and the legendary Hyogoro, an old Yakuza boss who teaches him advanced armament haki. Meanwhile, Zoro is dealing with his own problems, fighting off elite samurai and gaining a powerful sword, Enma, once wielded by Odin himself. The battle preparations intensify as the alliance grows stronger. Samurai, pirates, and even minks and ninjas join the cause. But Kaido isn't just sitting around, he invites Big Mom to Wano, forming the deadliest pirate alliance ever. As the Fire Festival approaches, the Onigashima raid begins, with the worst generation pirates, samurai army, and minks launching a full-scale attack on Kaido's fortress. What follows is absolute chaos. Zoro versus King, Sanji versus Queen, and Luffy going head-to-head with Kaido again. Luffy masters advanced Conqueror's haki, finally able to injure Kaido without even touching him. However, in an insane twist, Kaido kills Luffy, sending him plummeting into the ocean. But Luffy isn't done yet. He awakens his devil fruit, revealing it's actually the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, making him the legendary sun god Nika. In his new form, Gear 5, Luffy turns into an unstoppable force, fighting Kaido in the goofiest yet strongest battle in One Piece history. He literally cartoon punches Kaido, bending reality itself. In the end, Luffy defeats Kaido, liberating Wano and declaring that he will change the world. After the battle in Wano, the Straw Hats set sail once again, but the world is in complete chaos. Sei-Bao is accused of assassinating King Cobra, the Revolutionary Army is making bold moves, and the Marines are hunting down pirates more aggressively than ever. Meanwhile, Shanks, Blackbeard, and other powerful figures are making their own plays for the One Piece. Luffy, now officially one of the Four Emperors, is headed for his next adventure, Egghead Island, home of the genius scientist Dr. Vegapunk. Egghead is unlike anything the crew has seen before. It's a futuristic island filled with high-tech wonders, robots, and artificial intelligence. But things get messy quickly. Vegapunk is being targeted by the world government as they fear his knowledge, especially his research on the Void Century. He asks the Straw Hats to help him escape before the CPO agents, Lucci, Kaku, and Stussy, arrive to silence him for good. A massive battle breaks out between the Straw Hats and CPO. Luffy, now using Gear 5, faces off against Lucci, utterly overwhelming him. Meanwhile, Zoro takes on Kaku and the crew fights to protect Vegapunk and his 6 satellite bodies, which are extensions of his mind. But just when things seem under control, the Marines arrive with Admiral Kizaru and the terrifying Gorosei member Saint Saturn, making the situation far more dangerous. Kizaru's lightspeed attacks push the crew to their limits, while Saturn reveals shocking abilities, including an awakened mythical zone devil fruit. As the battle rages, Vegapunk drops one of the biggest bombshells in One Piece history, the truth about the ancient kingdom, the Void Century, and Imu, the secret ruler of the world. The Straw Hats, now carrying world-shattering knowledge, are officially public enemy number 1. Egghead becomes a war zone as the giant robot from the past awakens, responding to Luffy's heartbeat in Gear 5. The crew makes a daring escape, but the world is now on high alert. Luffy is no longer just a pirate. He is the man closest to the true history of the world.